Welcome to the Grow Renaissance podcast. Let's nourish the world.
Awesome. Welcome to another episode of the Grow Renaissance podcast. We're super happy that you're here, and I'm happy that Neil was able to join me again this week. How you doing, Neil?
Doing amazingly. Yeah, another terrific week. We're a few days behind. I know when we were supposed to get this done on Friday, but I was up to my knees in some infield work, and I'm really excited to be here today, though.
Yeah. No, we've been busy, so that's a good thing. So,
Totally.
But we've got a couple cool things we want to talk about today. For one, we'll kind of go through. There's a new swap feature on your Grow wallet, so you can swap directly into the Grow token straight through your Grow wallet instead of having to use, like MetaMask or something like that. So we'll go through that, and then we'll talk a little bit about NFTs and their utility and how they help the Grow blockchain, help farmers, all that. So
Yeah, wonderful.
So I'll go ahead and share my screen right now.
Just while Owen's pulling that up, you'll notice as we continue to move through the year here that we're going to continue to release some of these feature sets. Our goal and our aim is to continually make the interaction with the Nourish Mark, blockchain, your Grow wallet, as easy and as effective as possible, so that you continue to utilize it. Again, for everyone that's a community member right now, creating utility in the blockchain is all about how we continue to function in. So don't just hodl, don't just hold your Grow tokens. Think about purchasing, swapping, creating some transaction. As we continue to create transaction, we build utility. And much like, as I say, building the GDP of a country, it takes everyone functioning together and working together. For those of you that haven't joined our community yet and are just coming in wanting to purchase good products and services through the Nourish Mart, there are features. You can download a Grow wallet for free. You can utilize the swap function, and you can also, if you look back at our last episode, purchase the token bundles or an NFT voucher that would allow you to interact with our vendors on the Nourish Mart.
Yeah, no, it's really a cool tool, and I know a lot of people. Some of the thought process some people have is they don't want to use the tokens from their nodes to buy food from the Nourish marketplace, so they'll come in here and just swap however much they need, and then they'll go buy their food on the Nourish marketplace. So it's just a cool thing where you can kind of do everything instead of having to jump around from all these different wallets and different decentralized exchanges. It can be kind of confusing for people. So this is a really cool thing that we'll just kind of go through here. So this is obviously I've signed into a Grow wallet, and then you go down here just to wallet on the left hand side, and this will pop up. And then you're just gonna click on Ethereum, or you can do like USDC or USDT, but Ethereum is usually the easiest. So do Ethereum, and then just right here, it just says swap. So you obviously have to have some Ethereum in your wallet here that you gotta buy from an exchange and send to this wallet. But then once it's in here, you just click swap. You put in how much ETH that is. It'll give you the gas fee, and then you select Grow down here. And then you just put in your password, hit confirm, and then what you just swap into will show up in your Grow ERC20 wallet. So pretty simple. Do you have anything to add on that? Yeah.
Just one thing. If you go back to, you click on ETH
Right
there
here.
and go back to the swap function, you'll notice that when you put in, there is a minimum, and it right now is roughly $5 worth of ETH as a minimum that you need to put in there. It's because of some of the transactional fees, which you'll find on all wallet bases. So just know there's that roughly $5 worth of ETH in comparison that you need to start making it. But there's no upper limit, so you can continue to go as large as you want. This is just a great function, particularly if you are on the Nourish Mart and you're finding products that you want, and you can figure out what you need for Grow, you can come into your other cryptocurrencies that you're holding in the Grow wallet, convert into the Grow token there, and then go purchase your product off the Nourish Mart. Again, the more we create transactions, the more we support our vendors, the more we continue to build utility on our blockchain.
Yeah. So pretty cool little thing that they just added. I think last week is when they just added it.
Just rolled out. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've tried it a couple times and it works great, and it's super nice. You can just keep everything in one place is why I like it. So,
That's
but
great.
yeah, so just wanted to show that to everybody. But now we'll kind of jump into NFTs a little bit, what they are, how they're helpful, kind of all that. So, Neil, I'll let you take the first, kind of like what is an NFT, kind of explain that to people.
Yeah. Wonderful. So, blockchain comes with a whole new set of vocabulary, and Web3 in general has all these tool sets that the blockchain helps facilitate. One of those ones that gained a lot of notoriety through many different mechanisms was this tool called an NFT, which is a non-fungible token. Really means it has a unique identifier. So if you think around the Grow token, a token is a token. You can exchange a token for a token. The tokens are the same. They don't have unique identifiers. A Grow token is exchanged for a Grow token. And much like, any coins that you would have in TriFi, traditional finance, jingling in your pocket, a 5-cent coin or a 25-cent coin is a 25-cent coin. So it can be exchanged. An NFT is got a unique identifier. So you can't exchange one NFT for another because they have unique identifiers, which means if you wanted to exchange them, you're going to get something slightly different if it's a one-to-one exchange, which can happen if both parties agree on it. More often than not, though, they have different values based on the different uniquenesses that each NFT holds. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So, NFTs really got their fame in digital assets, so digital art, digital music. That's where you really saw sort of NFTs taken off. We know a lot of art in particular, and maybe in the gaming world, it was tools that you're using within your games, your swords, weaponry, costumes, masks that you were using. These are all digital assets that you got to own or hold through an NFT that was very unique. And you can imagine this Grow hat having a digital NFT image of that, on the blockchain. This Grow hat is going to be different than your hat, and it's going to have a different set of attributed values. That would be the asset or the data that's surrounding this NFT here. So it can be as simple as that. And then as we continue to expand our knowledge base and utilization of an NFT, we can continue to find values for it that enhance the functionality for people like farmers and ranchers. And so if you think about a farm, and potentially a farm where you're growing apples, and let's say you wanted to create an NFT for each apple tree that was planted, you could do so. Each apple tree would have their own unique value sets. Where it's positioned, its lat long in the orchard would be very different from its neighbor to its north or south or east or west. The soil values around that would be different from its counterparts. How it's being raised and tended to would have different attributes. And so what can happen is this NFT can take on a digital value based on what's happening with that tree. And so somebody could own that seedling, and it could be some opportunity to create some upfront benefit for the farmer to tend to these apple trees and grow an orchard of apples. And then you could get the physical product at the end and also have a digital asset that you could sell off and mint. So it creates just another way to create monetized opportunities using the blockchain. For us, particularly for those of us in the agriculture community, it's how we're packaging data together that continues to provide transparency. and a certain uniqueness around what we can do with this tool, the NFT tool. Um, some of it could be a little bit like a nonprofit. It can be utilized as a funding opportunity. It can be utilized to create additional revenue on top of what farmers are doing already in the field. Um, you can create smart contracts in there. Smart contracts are basically trigger points for us to release the transaction of cryptocurrencies for the payment of whatever is embedded in that smart contract.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it could be a box of apples that's delivered to your door. So once you're harvesting apples, there's a smart contract that then triggers the delivery of those apples to your door because you have tended to your NFT, and the farmer's continuing to raise your apple tree effectively. So I take it back to think about you may remember this, Owen, but certainly Tamaguchi, the little digital animal that was on a keychain, people played with in their
Uh,
pocket.
I don't think I do remember that.
Okay, it was this little toy basically that came out, and it was just a digital animal, and you had to tend to it every day. You had to feed it and water it, and you got
Mm.
rewarded for doing so, and you basically had a digital pet, is what it was, without having a real life pet. Now think about that, and then think about real world assets like an apple tree. And we've just combined the two. And so this NFT is the tool, the mechanism, where somebody like you or I could invest in that NFT, and then we could watch the farmer raise our tree, and we could find out what's going on with it and all the pieces of information that we want to see around that tree being grown um, regeneratively and nutritiously. So soil, organic matter in the soil, more matter in the soil, creating
Mm.
better nutrient uptake, creating nutritious apples that you get a box of. Um, by engaging in the purchase of the NFT, we're continuing to digitally feed the tree, and then the farmer's physically feeding the tree. And so that's how we can think about an NFT. It's just one example of the use of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's very much blockchain based, and so you've got the immutability of the data that's in there. Um, we've got the transparency, we've got the security, and we've got the proof of ownership, which is all sort of layered into that NFT. Now you can purchase multiple different NFTs. You can have a whole booklet of different NFTs that have different. It's like collecting trading cards back in the day.
Uh-huh.
Um, I grew up in Canada, and we had hockey cards. That was a big thing. You traded and collected. You wanted the full set, and you can do the same thing with NFTs. You can collect a full set of NFTs from real world assets on the farm. Could be cows, could be grains, could be trees, as I mentioned, an orchard, could be beehives if we're doing any honey. That whole set could be a one value set if you collect the whole set, or you could have individual uniquenesses. You can also have a secondary and tertiary market, third market, that continues to sell and resell these NFTs after the initial transaction. And so all of it creating a liquidity pool, creating opportunities for ensuring that farmers and ranchers continue to find value in what they're doing and engage with collecting good data, sharing that transparently, getting good food into the hands of consumers like you or I.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a totally like new concept if you're not really in blockchain and stuff. It takes a little bit to wrap your head around. I know that's where I was at a little while ago. Like you're kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I don't know how that works, but okay. But it really is such a cool thing. And we've seen it like here at Royal Family Farming with the carbon credit NFTs. I think people have
Yeah.
probably heard about those.
And in
But those
specific,
are
it was methane avoidance, right?
methane avoidance. Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
like to always clarify that because there's so many different elements to this carbon market space.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, with biodiversity, with forestation, with carbon sequestration, putting carbon in the ground, methane avoidance is just another element in these environmental crediting opportunities. But you're right, it functioned much the same way. And I'll let you continue on there. I didn't mean to jump in, but just wanted to
Yeah.
sort of
No,
break
you're
out.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's been really cool because you're able to with our partner Treefera, you're able to track all of your data, like your soil data, the methane avoidance, methane released, all that. You're able to track all of that on chain and then mint it in an NFT that represents a carbon credit, and then we're able to sell those off to people that want to buy carbon credits to offset their carbon emissions. And that just adds utility to the Grow blockchain, to the Grow token, because that whole transaction is being tracked on chain. And then using the Grow token, you can buy those NFTs. And there's a benefit for these big corporations to buy carbon credits, for tax purposes and for their own environmental goals and whatnot. And then there's the incentive for the farmers, because we can maintain ownership of it, and then allow who we want to have that data to see it. It's not just out to anybody to kind of take advantage of. So it's really
Yeah.
a cool concept that we've been going really deep into, like the carbon credit methane avoidance side on in royal family farming. So it's
Yeah,
been.
and it's certainly just one aspect that we can use
Mhm.
NFTs for. Is the environmental credits. Um, One of the things that blockchain is aiming to do is really create a faster process from field to transactioning of these data sources. And so you mentioned the offset, it could be an inset as well. The opportunities for corporations, whether agribusiness or otherwise, in the food supply chain in particular, to continue to provide clarity and transparency and traceability of what's happening with raw product off the farm to processed product to consumer plate, lies in us being able to translate value in some of these data components. So we're all trying to do better for our ecosystems that we live within, our farm ecosystem, our community ecosystem. We're trying to feed our neighbor more effectively so we can continue to nourish the world with really nutritious food. And both are very important. Feeding our neighbor nutritious food and then feeding their neighbor allows us to feed the world more
Agreed.
nutritiously. And we need to continue focusing on that. And what we're doing is we're harnessing the power of what blockchain provides through these tool sets. And so certainly NFTs for environmental credits, it's just one aspect of how an NFT looks. Could be utilized for inset and offsets. Creates a little more efficiency from field to blockchain, and making sure the rigor of the data is there. And then of course keeps everyone accountable because of what the blockchain offers at its very root, which is
Mhm.
immutability, non-changing. It's got a ledger that we can go back and see what's going on through the cycle of that packet called an NFT in this case for the methane avoidance crediting that happened, um,
Mhm.
and all the data that falls into that. So I believe you did an episode not too long ago, Owen, with the block scanner. So if you're
Mhm.
interested, you can go onto the block scanner. You can actually click into the transactions and take a look at some of the data that's captured within these NFTs, in particular these methane avoidance.
Yeah.
Um, and every time they're minted, that will be on the ledger, which will be on our block scanner. So get familiar with that, but recognize that NFTs in general have a huge opportunity uh, of of dual benefit is really what I'm trying to say. So both for the farm operations and for the consumer and for whoever that holder of that NFT is. And so I highly recommend you getting familiar, asking questions about how we can utilize it if you're on the agriculture side that's working in the field and how that plugs into
Mhm.
your operations. And then as a buyer or as a consumer, asking questions about how you can hold some of these NFTs in your wallet so you can continue to build transactions, as Owen mentioned, and we continue to build a ecosystem and a community that is really growing the utility or our GDP of our blockchain.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of opportunity for it, and it'll be exciting. There's a lot of different things that we're doing and figuring out to
Yeah.
create more NFTs on the blockchain, more utilities. So it'll be it'll be really fun to see all the new things coming out here in the future.
Mm-hmm.
One last thing I want to say: there's a really good episode with that I believe it was Will did with Andy Jenkins. a few months ago. It's one of the first ones. It's probably episode 4 or 5. But if you want to really get into a deep dive of carbon credits and reforestation, like all that kind of stuff, Andy Jenkins he's the man for that. So I would recommend going and listening to that episode if you're curious about all of that kind of stuff. So, but did you have any last words, Neil, or you think we got it pretty good there?
Well, I was going to say, for those that are in our community that are in the farming and ranching communities, be on the lookout for some new NFT programs rolling out shortly. I've been working hard on that behind the scenes here. So hence why we want to talk a little bit about NFTs, but we're going to be rolling out some really neat programs. And for those of you in our community that don't farm or ranch, this is a good opportunity to pay attention, because there's going to be some NFTs in the near future that you can continue to add to your Grow wallet and continue to support the good work that's happening out in the fields.
Awesome. Yeah, it'll be exciting. So, but we want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Grow Renaissance podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe this episode. Remember, it will take a community of us to do the best in the world and truly nourish not only ourselves, but the planet, the atmosphere, the soil, the plants, and the animals on it. So make sure you spread this message anywhere that you can.